Well, we've come to the end of another year, and I would love to share my artist journey with you from 2024. So 2024 was a great year. At the beginning of every year, I try to ask God for a word. And this year, the word was seek. And so I thought I would explore that word with this gouache sketch in my Hahnemühle watercolor square sketchbook. And this image right here is from something I did at the beginning of the year where I made a commitment to myself, a challenge to myself to every day do a daily Devo doodle. And so right here, if we click on this, we can walk through. I did this for almost every day of the year. So I have over 300 daily Devo doodles. You can see I filled up 3 of these sketchbooks with these doodles. And so I used a daily devotional book that had a little like meditation and it had some passages of scripture. And while I didn't always agree with the author's interpretation of these scriptures, it did spark me. And the challenge was to take the scripture and to create a theological visual contemplation of it. And so here's just a few of the ones that I liked the most. And if you want to see all 300 plus of these doodles, you can click on that. And this is just a Google folder. And you can see, man, there's so many of them. And if you're into this kind of thing, I invite you to just scroll through all of these. Like, look at this one, King of Thorns. It's pretty wild. Now, keep in mind that the originals are just little. They're like 2 by 3 inches done with a fountain pen, no pre-sketching, not a lot of thought put into it, just like an immediate contemplative response to the scripture and the thoughts behind it. So that's pretty fun. Enjoy that. A big thing that happened this year was I worked with a company called Tidy Co-Creative, and you can see I got a link right here to that, and I'll put that link in the comments. But they helped me think about what my actual purpose is for my art and my ministry. And they're the ones who came up and they said, Steve, it's just really obvious to us that you are the art pastor because my whole ministry, my whole my whole life, it's really just this fusion of art and theology. And I just have, since I was a kid, I've been visualizing my theological imagination through drawing. And a lot of that is through cartooning, but also through fine art, traditional art, all kinds of stuff. One of the things I did this year was a lot of work in sketchbooks. These yellow sketchbooks on the bottom are filled with figure drawing. And I keep my figure drawings private because they're just my own work. And I know some people kind of get freaked out about figure drawing. Someday I might get the courage to share all my figure drawings. But you can see I did a lot of different sketchbooks. These 3 on the top are the ones for my Devo doodles. So now we'll get to the part, my love of drawing human faces. And so I've done a lot of them. Let me walk through some of the highlights. This one was done on my iPad in uh, the app called Procreate. And I love drawing Procreate. And if you go through my social media, you'll find that a lot of these have time-lapse videos that I've posted. This is an image that I actually drew on my Wacom 24-inch that's at my office at the seminary. I did this in Photoshop. One morning I was kind of stressed out and I just needed some contemplative space. And so I opened up, found a random face on Pinterest, and I did this as a meditation. This drawing is on my iPad. I was at a conference. I was at the AAR in San Diego, and I was just kind of chilling in my hotel room, and I ended up drawing this face. I love drawing. I find it super relaxing. Here's a bunch of face studies that I did. I always go through, I find faces on Pinterest that I find really interesting. And these faces were drawn in Procreate on my iPad once again. And I like doing the black and white studies. I always start with a middle tone, and so you can go dark and light with that. This one, I just recently posted a sketchbook tour through this sketchbook. If you want to look through my YouTube channel, this is one of my favorites from that sketchbook. This is a Lamy fountain pen with waterproof carbon ink and just some face studies. And then I came over it with gouache. This one is another Procreate sketch. I was using a technique here. I was trying to do minimal texture, although I still like to do a little bit of texture, but I think this one came out pretty cool. Here's another one in my Hahnemühle sketchbook. This one is just with the Lamy fountain pen, just studying different faces. Just some more random face studies, and this one's done in Procreate. This one's also done in Procreate. And this one's also done in Procreate. I love this one. Just that hair, man. Ooh, it's awesome. All right, so those are my faces that I wanted to highlight for the year. I didn't do a whole bunch of oil painting this year, but I did get 3 little ones in. So this one is it's really just a quick sketch, 11 by 14 linen on panel. And I'm experimenting with the Zorn palette, which just has 4 pigments. It's got a cad red, a yellow, a white, and ivory black. And from just those 4 pigments, you can get all of these colors. And this is from a photograph that my wife took in our backyard of a monarch on sedum. It's pretty cool. And then this is not a very good photograph, but it is of an actual oil painting on linen on uh, panel. And this is what I call a memory painting. This I wasn't looking at an actual photograph. I was painting from memory of a scene that I saw in Yellowstone National Park many years ago after a big fire had come through the year before. And the new growth was happening already. And then in another part of Yellowstone, there was part of the forest where it had burned like many years before, and all of the burned out trees were all bleached, and there was a new forest about 6 feet tall growing up underneath it. And there's just so much imagery about death and resurrection and new life in these forest scenes. And so I painted this, and then some friends actually saw it on my Facebook and they bought it for me. So now it's hanging at their ranch and their farm out in the East Coast. Pretty cool. This is also a face study in oil using the Zorn palette once again, just a random Pinterest face, and just super quick a la prima. I think that's the right term for it, where you just kind of go in, not a lot of thinking beforehand, and just trying to see what you can get done in one session. So came out pretty fun. You can see I just photographed it on my easel. So that's just a study. So that's my oil for this year. I did get to do some good plein air work, and these are in my sketchbooks. And so this one is up in Arrowwood, which is a resort up in Alexandria, Minnesota. I was at a retreat and I took a little time in the afternoon and painted this. I was actually sitting inside because it was February, which is really cold, and this tree was just outside the window. And this one is coming from, I was up in Pachaman Terrace, which is a hermitage retreat center up in St. Francis, Minnesota. And I was inside of my hermitage looking out the window. It's kind of a rainy day, but I got 2 shots. So this one and this one are both out the same window. And I was just trying different palettes with my gouache. So this is gouache on watercolor paper. And then this is a pen and ink drawing from inside of that same hermitage with my Lamy fountain pen. That's what I was sitting in that rocking chair when I painted those previous paintings. It's pretty cool. This is a plein air gouache painting of my house in July, and came out pretty good. This is a fountain pen sketch at a Starbucks at the Barnes and Noble. I was there with my daughter and a couple boys just hanging out, so good chance to sketch them. This is the entrance to Gullickson Hall at Luther Seminary. My office is in this building, and back in August, we actually created a video of this. Haven't actually done anything with the video yet, but this is the plein air piece, which came out pretty good. Then back in April, I was up at Lake Wapagasset Lutheran Bible Camp, which we just affectionately call Camp Wapo. And these are two of the four cabins that are called the Gospel Cruisers. And just took the afternoon. I was up there teaching at an adult retreat and took a little time to get a quick plein air in because that's what I like to do when I'm at camps. All right, so those are some of my plein air work that I wanted to share with you. So now we're going to shift into a different kind of work that I did this year. Again, I said a lot of my work is based in either studying scripture or looking at theological concepts. And so I created a whole series of images based on this question of why Jesus. And I was actually doing a sermon. I was invited up to Faith Lutheran up in Coon Rapids. And because I was doing that sermon, I took an opportunity to do these illustrations. One part of my job is I create content, I create courses for Faith Lead Academy. So I was able to use my work from the book of Acts, my Cartoonist Guide to Acts. If you haven't seen that, you can come up here and look at Cartoonist Guide to the Bible and look through the book of Acts. But they created a whole course for that. You can click here and go to that course. And I also created another course called Overflow, Loving God with Our Mind, which is basically how to study the Bible course, but it also has a little bit more to it about just how learning is a lifelong spiritual practice. So this is an illustration of Philippians 1, 9 through 11, and put it into images. And this is a prayer that I like to pray for my students and for anybody that is within my ministry sphere. So it's pretty fun. I did that this year. This is another thing that I did this year for when I preached Ash Wednesday at the seminary. So here's some of the animation that I did this year. You can find this one's on YouTube. This is the Fusion of Horizons. And I'll just put a link to this. I'm not going to show you the whole animation. And this is a video that I did for the Overflow. This one, I really like this one because it's more like classic animation where it's talking about how the ancient world conceived of the universe. So imagine that we don't have any of the technology around us. How do you observe it? You see the sun rising, the sun setting. Scene right here, I actually did in Procreate Dreams on my iPad. And that just came out this year. And I was really excited to try it. And I was really, really excited that I was actually able to create an animation in it and use it for my course at Faith Lead Academy. So yeah, that was super fun. So you can check that animation out. Another thing that I did a lot of this year was live streaming. And once I became art pastor, I call it Art Pastor Live. And every Friday afternoon, I go live and you can join me. It's 4 o'clock Central Time. I paint, I draw. Sometimes I'm reflecting on some scripture. Sometimes I'm reflecting on a theological idea. Sometimes I just drawing because I love to draw. So like this one, I did this painting during the live stream. So and I did it in Procreate on the iPad. And so if you want to join me live, you can paint along with me, or you can watch the videos later and just fast forward them and enjoy them, whatever. So I've been doing some portrait painting on the live stream. One time I did this Trinity Zentangle and showed people how to do a Zentangle, how to make a Trinity knot. That was really fun. Another thing that I did this year was some live art and two events that I drew at. The first one was right here. This is the Chapel of the Incarnation at Luther Seminary, where I am now the dean of the chapel. But this is that Ash Wednesday that I was talking about. I had a pile of dirt here, but during the beginning part of the service, I actually painted this image on my iPad right there up on the chancel. That was kind of fun. And then another opportunity I had was a friend is a pastor at Nokomis Heights Lutheran Church in Minneapolis, and she invited me to come and do this painting during their Good Friday service. And so that was really fun. I posted about that. You can check that out. I also did live art during my live streaming. So we did drawing through Lent, and these were on Monday nights. So I did 6 images throughout Lent this year. And then I did it again just recently, the art of Advent, and these were on my Friday live stream. So these are 4 images that I created during the live stream. It's really fun. And these were all done in Procreate. Um, there's peace, joy, love. Yeah, those are really fun. You can check those out. Now, my final piece that I want to share with you is I love doing Zentangles. I think they're super fun and relaxing. And I actually have a contemplative art group on Tuesdays at the seminary, and we do mindful sketching, contemplative art, contemplative practice in general. And so I just wanted to share a few of these Zentangles that I created. And I also do some Zentangles on my live stream if you want to check those out. If you want to learn how to do them, let me know. I'd love to do some live stream instructions about that. This one's pretty fun. This one, yeah, all of these are actually in a real sketchbook. Yeah, pretty cool. Hey, thanks for taking the time to walk through 2024 with me. I hope you found some of this interesting. If you have any questions or want to learn about the kind of art that I do, if you want to join me on those live streams on Friday, if you want to subscribe to my blog, I'd love to have you join me. And yeah, let's see what we can do in 2025 as we explore spirituality and scripture through visual art and creativity. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.